Okay, so welcome everyone to day two of the integration experience. I'm so excited to be able to hold this container for all of you. I know a lot of you were in day one, and it was incredible with Ryan and Matt as usual. Um, so in today's session, I'm hoping for it to be a grounding session after getting kind of shaken up maybe a little bit yesterday. And hopefully you can walk away with more knowledge, more tools, more understanding, because really we want to explore what happens after the healing, after the breakthroughs. The breakthroughs are sacred, right? And integration is really important. It's an important part of the piece. So yes, we're going to touch on how there's the fragments of the self, like Ryan and Matt did yesterday, but today we're going to focus more on what's going to happen post when the fragments of the self get called back in, and how does that process work of almost restitching those pieces or those parts of us back in place, back into the whole, back into the being, because that's a process in itself for our endocrine system, our nervous system, our hormones, all of the systems of our bodies need to allow it to come in and detox what was unprocessed as it comes back in. So yeah, it's a really interesting topic, really important. For those of you that are in root cause therapy, you'll know all about the healing hangover or integration period. And just so you guys know, just for some context, so Ryan and Matt are the founders of InBody Processing. So that really focuses on building a lot of safety and capacity in the nervous system, and then going in and finding the parts and somatically integrating them back into the being. And then I'm the founder of Root Cause Therapy. So we look at someone quite holistically in all areas of their life. There is a bit of a life coaching element in there. And then we take people into regression, and we're asking the unconscious mind, what the root cause is of certain presenting symptoms, issues, whether it be physical, mental, emotional. And we go back and we somatically finish processing those, get the gold from it, so to speak, and then integrate it and emotionally mature those parts into now. There can be some inner child healing and elements where we go out to the future. And also trauma-informed manifestation coaching, which is my two babies that I brought together, my love for manifestation, but knowing how toxic it can be, that toxic positivity, but bringing it into the field of trauma and somatics and looking at it through a trauma-sensitive lens, and for people to become coaches in that space and helping people achieve goals. So they're my two. And then we've got Ava from Perth, and she runs a trauma-informed meditation certification. So there are our main four certifications at the moment. So I will be looking at it through the lens of my modalities. So it might be a little bit different to yesterday, but the essence of the Center for Healing is the same, where we really believed in lived experience and empathy and us doing the work and being able to hold a safe space for someone else. And a lot of our current issues are from our conditioning and our imprinting and ancestral, and depending how spiritual you are, the soul level as well. Yeah, so today I want to touch on those elements there. So, creating safety for the integration to happen, what's happening after a breakthrough, and then practices that support that nourish and enable that integration to complete after healing sessions. And we just want to look at what do we do afterwards, even after it's all integrated. We want to look at that too, how we become the creators of our lives. So I would really like to just take a moment for all of us to just block out the noise of the world. And a way that I like to do this, and I kind of borrowed it from Matt because I absolutely love it, is that, when we think about it, for most of the evolution of humans, we were in small villages, right? And all we knew was what was happening in maybe in our hut, in the huts surrounding, maybe in our village, and possibly the villages in walking distance. And that was it. And these days, we have news from all over the world constantly through social media, through TV. We're getting bombarded constantly with kind of scary, scarcity, kind of triggering, potentially dysregulating information just bombarding us all the time. So I just invite you, if you feel comfortable, to take a moment to just bring everything back into the room that you're in if it feels comfortable and safe. And you can close your eyes if that feels comfortable as well. And just noticing that in that room itself, it is fine. We are safe here. We're blocking out any noise. And then even outside your room or just outside your home, just in your garden, or if there's a nature strip, just noticing the trees and any plants, if there are any kind of nature. And as we're noticing that, if we can imagine, maybe you can hear a bird, but if you can imagine a bird out on the tree, and whatever that bird is experiencing is all that you're experiencing right now. So maybe it's experiencing a bit of rain, a bit of cold, maybe it's nighttime, maybe it's got the sun shining on it. And whatever's happening to that bird is actually all that's happening to you right now in our immediate environment. Just breathe into that relief. That's all we need to be concerned about for the next hour or so. Everything is okay in our immediate environment. If any of you need to do a sigh or drop your shoulders, just see if anything's loosening up. Yeah, looking outside is good, Damien. Anything you can do to kind of really let your nervous system, let your body know that's all we need to deal with right now. Yes, those things are real that are happening in the world, but we're not dealing with it right now. Right now, it's just a sacred space for us in this moment. Lovely. Okay, good. Okay, so let's get into it a little bit. Feel free to be active in the chat box. Let me know how that was for you. If anything comes up during this session, any questions, I am watching the chat box, so I can help. So Ryan and Matt spoke about a lot about integration of the orphan parts, as they call it, yesterday. So these are parts of ourselves that we perhaps shut down, set aside, disconnected from ourselves because it wasn't safe to express those parts because of possibly, maybe this is a generalization, but a common one that we see, a caregiver didn't allow us to express how we were feeling when we were 3 and having a tantrum, right? And maybe we got hit or yelled at and we learned, oh, I can't express my emotions, or it's not safe for me to express my emotions or that part of myself. Or maybe we were an angry teenager and we, instead of having someone emotionally attuned to us and hold space to us, we again were told that it's bad and it's wrong and things like that. So the orphan parts, Andrew, is about emotional concepts. It's about almost imagine them inner children and in parts of ourselves that we had to suppress or repress because it wasn't safe to express those parts, and we lock them away. So someone's just asking about root cause therapy. If someone has no memories, it is often a sign that there's repressed and suppressed parts. So our mind and our body do a fantastic job of locking away things that it doesn't want us to constantly relive so we can survive, so we can move forward. And sometimes to do that, if it's extreme, it has to black them out. But what I find with root cause therapy, and other root cause therapists in here might attest to this, is that if the person is ready, if their mind body is ready, those memories can start to come up if they feel safe with the practitioner and it's ready to be healed. We can often have those start to surface to work through. We're not surfacing them to relive them, we're surfacing them to heal and process them finally. And that's what trauma is. It's where we haven't fully processed, digested. There's a loop that's still open, right? There's a loop that's still open. We weren't able to fully process what we were feeling. There wasn't someone safe there to help us process maybe very intense stress, or maybe we witnessed stressful experiences and we locked them away. So if he's just disconnected from feeling your emotions, then yeah, it's the traumatic events are connected to strong emotions. So they will be locked away because it's not safe. And a lot of people go up into their head and they divorce from their body. They divorce from feeling. They try their best not to feel. It's a coping mechanism. It's another intelligent way that our body tries to help us move forward. And we just intellectualize everything, but we don't really feel life. And then we stop feeling the positive emotions as well. Yes. So when those moments, when those very stressful, traumatic situations happen and we can't deal with it, it's too much for the nervous system to deal with. It does get disconnected and suppressed, pushed aside, and it creates subpersonalities. And I had an experience of this the other day when I was just contemplating these subpersonalities myself, where if a subpersonality gets activated for some reason, they're not all activated all the time, by the way, but for some reason something's triggered something. I was with my son and I was walking in the park and I was like getting frustrated that I couldn't do my normal walk. Like he wants to stop and it's gorgeous. Like he wants to stop. Look, mum, here's a ladybug. Look, here's this, here's that, like every 5 seconds. And it's gorgeous. And I just didn't have the capacity to handle it the other day. And I just was so, I don't know, connected to wanting to do my walk. And I think it triggered me, being a bit selfish, being an only child, things like that, where I was able to just do what I wanted to do without, negotiating. And I was not present with him. I was not emotionally attuned. I wasn't in the moment with him. I was just like, we've got to do this next. And my personality changed. I was a bit short with him. I was like, Harriet, let's go. And I was witnessing myself. I'm like, how interesting. This is a sub-personality of mine that's expressing itself. It's a mask or a different way that I think, that I speak, right? That I interact. And we have many of these sub-personalities that can get triggered anytime. So when we talk about healing in itself, yes, Damien, it can be sub-personalities, can be identities. I wouldn't say I base my whole identity on that activation though. I think identity is a much more, like I would say there's many more intricacies to that. There's many more layers where we, if we constantly associate ourselves with being a certain person, all of our sub-personalities that associate with that will lock in and we will be almost like that. Yes. Day to day, not just in the moments that we're triggered. So when we do the healing work and we call these parts back in, then we are reintegrating. We're bringing those parts back in and saying, look, I know that you're there. I see you. I hear you. We're not approaching it of like, oh, there's something wrong with me when I do that. I approached it with curiosity and compassion and understanding. And that allowed me to not blow up or engage or conflict with the other person. I was able to be more empathetic in that moment and go, oh, that's an interesting part. And if I was to do a healing session, yeah, the shadow, I could look at that adaptation that I had, or that shadow that's come back in. Also, there's boundaries and things like that, like but if we look at it in that sense, we're just, the parts are all a part of us and they're expressing themselves in their own ways. And we know when that's activated, we don't fully feel like ourselves, our true selves. And those of you that are spiritually inclined, it's all about reintegrating the self. So we're reintegrating with our soul and our essence of our soul, and but the thing is that it's not saying that our ego, our human body is bad and we need to heal it all and we just need to be our soul, because that's not the reason why we're here. We're here to grow our soul. So it's not just about integration. It's about integration with more wisdom and more experience and more knowledge. So what we've been through is not in vain. And when we reintegrate and we grow, we're growing in wisdom as well, right? So for any of you that have done like an RCT or EP session, the amount of wisdom and knowledge that drops through just as a receiver is mind-blowing in itself, and not only do we just release the emotion, but we get all of that gold, we get all of that wisdom to take with us from now going forward, and we are able to expand and grow in capacity and believe in ourselves more and love ourselves more. And so integration isn't just, there's a part, love it, bring it back in. There's so many more benefits than just that. And it allows us to have a bigger life where we don't end up just isolating ourselves because we end up conflicting with everyone or we get overwhelmed, so it allows us to do more things, to serve, to have more courage, like I said, believe in ourselves more. And the thing is, when we are feeling shut down, when we are feeling tired, when we are feeling like I've had enough, and we're going to have those feelings naturally. Sometimes that tiredness isn't that you haven't had enough sleep. Sometimes it isn't hormonal. Sometimes it isn't that there's something wrong with your blood work, Sometimes it is that there are so many loops running in the background that have not completed, so many incomplete loops running in the past and your future, that the amount of energy that's left in the present moment isn't much, and we feel tired and we feel drained no matter how much sleep we have. It's taking up our emotional resources, it's taking up our nervous system resources, and half the time we're not even consciously aware of it. But our body, if we don't become aware of it, our body starts to scream out, I like to say, with pain, with it's like we're in fight and flight, but we don't realize that we are. But all we can feel is that our neck and our shoulders feel tense all the time, or we have TMJ, like we're clenching all the time, right? Or we're getting anxiety a lot of the time. And we're like looking around going, well, I shouldn't really, like I've done everything I can to set up my life externally so I don't feel this. And I'm still feeling this, So it's like, that's why, I think we did a post the other day. It's like, you're not always just tired. Sometimes like you're literally just heavy with stuff that hasn't processed, those loops that are still running. So when we start to release up those resources in our body, in our mind, then we have space to be more compassionate for ourselves and others. We have, because we're not in survival mode. When we're in survival mode, we just think about ourselves and how to look after ourselves. When we're in expansive mode, when we're in creative, regulated, adventurous, slightly activated, but we've got more resources, and we can start to think about our village, our community, in a way where we're not always defensive and in survival. Yeah. So I had a prop. Okay. And it's really funny. Ryan's like, why do you have a prop? I'm like, because we're like literally walking around like this all the time. We're shaking. I shouldn't probably shake it because when I open it, and when you do healing work, it is letting out a little bit of, a little bit of emotion, and then you close it again. A little bit of emotion and you close it again. Right. Because sometimes we just blow up at people's situations, have a complete breakdown. But with healing work, we can slowly start to open and release the fears, open and release the fears, open, look at the wounds, process the emotions, and then close it again so we can integrate. We don't want to be constantly healing, even though we're the center for healing. We don't want to be constantly we don't want to be constantly just trying to open it and just be flooded, right? We want to actually allow everything to settle a little bit, allow everything to integrate. Someone's asking what's on my wrist. It's a Whoop. It's a tracker to track your heart rate variability and your sleep and everything like that. And my therapist didn't like that I have it because she thinks it's kind of like not me attuning to myself and how I'm feeling, but it's actually helping me attune more. And it's been really fun to like meditate for 10 minutes, and then I open the app and I can see all of my statistics, my stress and everything goes right down, and it's just so confirming to do those things consistently. So that's what that is, everyone. So thank you. Looking at the ring. Yeah, stress trackers are good. So how does integration work for neurodivergent people? Yeah, so the links of the symptoms of trauma and of neurodivergence is quite similar. And I've definitely had clients with neurodivergence, and I know there's a lot of students in our groups that have neurodivergence, and it just helps to soothe the symptoms. When you start to integrate those parts, you still might have the symptoms, and yes, your brain and your body is built a different way, but it allows that to all, like, you're letting out a bit of the fizz, a bit of the intensity. So it's physical, like with root cause therapy, we deal with all different things, money blocks, physical issues, anxiety, depression, brain fog. It can just be any kind of symptoms that someone's experiencing. We can just ask, is there an emotional root cause to this? Is there any trauma related to this pattern or related to this behavior or this thought process, or this pain, right? So it's quite powerful work. So I liken it to, if we don't heal the root causes, then it's like going to if anyone's a chiropractor, I apologize, but it's like going to a chiropractor. And I know chiropractors are amazing, and I've been to a chiropractor, but you're going to the chiropractor and you keep getting your bones cracked, right? And they keep getting put back into alignment. But if you're not dealing with the fascia, which is the web that surrounds the muscles, which is, basically the communication highway from the nervous system. If those are still contorted because of traumas, whether they be actual physical traumas or emotional traumas or surgeries and things like that, you're going to have to keep going back and getting adjusted over and over again, because the fascia is going to move the bones back into place, or it's putting maybe the bones out of alignment again, the muscles out of alignment. And so that's why, if you're in constant fight and flight and you go to the chiropractor and you get that relief, but you're not actually dealing with the other layers and looking at holistically, like, oh, where do you need to calm down? Or, is there a constant fight and flight going on? Why do I have to keep cracking the same bone over and over? Then that's something that you need to kind of look at on a deeper level. And that's the same as tools and like talk therapy, although they have their place and they're brilliant. It's like, yes, I can, reframe this for you, or like hold space for you to talk about it, but you're just going to keep coming back with the same thing over and over again. It's not actually integrated. It's because we haven't actually gone down to what the actual cause is. And that allows the bone to just release and heal itself. It's like when you remove the dis-ease in the body, or you remove the contortion, the body will just heal itself, right? When we say have a splinter in our finger and we just leave it there, right? And it starts to go red, and maybe it starts to go pussy, that's, you know, that the body is going to do a layer around it, a protection of white blood cells to protect it, the rest of the body from that particular foreign object in the body. And maybe we can't use that finger. It hurts to touch it. It hurts to use it. Right. And that emotional injury and that trauma, that's like that splinter in the finger. So if we keep just putting topical creams and taking painkillers and we're not actually removing the splinter, then it's going to cause more and more of an issue and leak into other areas of the body or our life, right? So what happens is with the healing work is we're pulling out the splinter. Yes, it's a little bit ouchy, but just for a little bit. We're releasing something that maybe we've had for 20, 30 years that maybe we can't even remember. We're talking about that pre-verbal kind of trauma where, yes, we've, you know, I've helped a lot of people. They were back in the womb, 1 year old, being let cry it out. Like, and we can't consciously remember that, but the body has kept the score. The body remembers. When we pull that out, it hurts momentarily for that hour or two in the session. Yes, it does. And when we squeeze whatever pus and stuff out, yes, it hurts. But the integration time is the actual healing time. It's the time that we, you know, they've taken the splinter out. There's a wound. Now we put the Band-Aid on the wound. You know, we might put some dressing or put some antibacterial or whatever on it, some ointment on it. And we're taking care of it until it heals, and it takes a week or two, right? And it's exactly the same when we do healing work. It's we've taken it out, we've learned to take it out earlier, right? And we're nursing it until it fully heals over, right? And we've left that with that further knowledge of pulling the splinter out earlier or whatever else we need to learn. Wear gloves when you're in the garden, whatever it happens to be, of why that splinter happened in the first place, so it wasn't in vain, right? And then it might heal even stronger. You know, that post-traumatic growth, it might have a bit of a callus on it. Your hands might become a bit rougher, right? And so that's basically in a nutshell what integration is, and what I like to speak about. I guess in root cause therapy, we call it the healing hangover. We like to call it. I like to say we coined the term, but it feels like a hangover, especially if it was something really deep, really heavy. Or even in the manifestation coaching, we'll do some somatic work. And it's not about, because when I first studied NLP, it was really about, okay, you're thinking about something in this way, or you're doing something, let's just reframe it. But in reframing it, we've just pushed the orphan part further away from us. We've pushed it even further away, rejecting it even more. We haven't brought it in, felt it, connected with it, listened to it. We're just like, think about this in this way, disconnect even more. And I became so disconnected from my body by doing, and yes, there's some NLP and root cause therapy, but I completely changed it in a way because of that, because we want integration, not more disconnection. We don't want to say any emotions are bad. We want to welcome them in. We want to call them in, you know, because when you do feel those moments of bliss, when you do feel those moments of awe, it's often because you let yourself feel the heavy stuff too, right? So let's just talk about before, during, and after. So before healing, you know, Matt and Ryan would have talked a lot about safety, capacity, building safety for a client. That might look like psychoeducation. That might look like, you know, making sure that you have a couple of sessions or a consultation call with a client, make sure that they feel safe with you. You guys can attune to each other. They know what it's going to be about. They feel comfortable and safe where they're going to do the session as well. And we start to peel back the layers gently. You know, we make sure that they feel comfortable, their body feels comfortable, and it's not shutting down. And us as a practitioner feeling regulated as possible, because there's going to be that co-regulation. They're going to feel how we're feeling, and vice versa. So just really making sure that's a really nice, safe space. And for me, it's like I also add the layer of being professional. Like, you remember what they said, you've written notes, you've prepared for their session. Like, they go, oh, I feel listened to, I feel heard, I feel important, right? So that's really the start of setting it up. And for those of you in EP, or you've done the trauma informed certificate, it can be, you know, setting them up with some safety tools, helping them find a safe space, a safe island, as Julie in our community likes to say, in our body and in the client's body. And so they can access that at any time, and it creates more capacity for them to go, okay, my container feels safe enough and big enough that I can start to feel these big emotions that could potentially come up. Things that you consciously remember and don't remember can come up. So so then we go into the actual processing phase. We go, so in root cause therapy, we get someone into regression, we get them into the actual event. We're asking their unconscious mind, what is the root cause? Because someone might be like, this started, you know, when I was this age or last year. But then the unconscious mind is like, no, it's way further back. You know, it could be passed down in the DNA, ancestral. It could be, like I said earlier, pre-verbal, like infancy. It could be when we were 10 years old. So we go back and we finish the unprocessed, and we're holding space for the client to help them process it themselves. And we're guiding them to close that loop, to be that person that they needed, to hold that safe space for them to go, yeah, it's okay to feel this, let it out. You know, the person that they needed at the time that wasn't there, that safe person, to process it. And then we get the learnings, like anything that we can learn from this. Yes, it can be really heart-wrenching what has happened to a lot of us. And sometimes there's not many learnings, except for that, you know, it wasn't my fault and it shouldn't have happened. But sometimes there's more than that as well that we can take with us, that we can get out of it, you know. And then with root cause therapy, we ask the unconscious mind to come back to now, and whatever has created that subpersonality or that particular symptom or behavior, or if it's PTSD or CPTSD, the whole bunch of emotions will flash up on the way back to now, of the events that are linked to that initial one with similar emotions. It'll just flash up and heal. But then, you know, sometimes you do a few of those, and by the end of the session, someone's like, okay, that's enough. Or the manifesting claw, we do in the manifesting course, we do what's called the alignment or resistance numbers, where we're just somatically releasing any blocks to goals. And so post those sessions, there's a lot to process, especially if it was decades of a pattern or decades of a symptom. And that's a really important time, and we call it the post-processing phase. Like, we've processed it, but there's still a lot to unravel. There's more realizations, there's epiphanies that come through, there's waves of emotion that leave the body. And it's not just emotion, it's stress hormones, you know, it's physical issues that can flare up a little bit before they go. So really having that safe space for that to happen. And we're going from like, I'm broken, there's something wrong with me, to like, I survived and I've got wisdom now to thrive, right? And in those moments, we want to do things that feel nourishing, you know. So just say we had an inner child healing. I remember when I had an inner child healing, afterwards I was like, I need to watch a cartoon. And I borrowed my neighbor's dog, like a little fluffy dog, and I was like on the couch eating lollies like a little 5-year-old, and I'm like and that's what I needed, and that felt really nourishing to me, and what my 5-year-old needed, that we had just worked on. For some people it might be movement, you know. It might be doing a bit of yoga, stretching, going for a walk in nature. It might be being witnessed by someone that you feel safe with, a best friend, or even reaching out to that same practitioner. It might be journaling. Rest and solitude and lots of water is usually the most helpful, to process everything, to integrate it all. And the other thing that can be really helpful, particularly if we've gone back to inner children and things like that, is connecting with our inner children, our inner child. Even though you've done the work in the session, in an ongoing way, you can still connect with them and make sure they're okay, especially during the integration period. You might have a photo of you the same age, or you can picture them in your mind. How would you speak to them? How would you take care of them? What do they need? And that can be really nourishing and something that you can do once you finish integrating and processing. And for me, I actually have a whole place in my mind with all my baby, my toddlers, my inner children, my teenager, and they're in this beautiful safe space. And I do connect with them and ask if I'm, not dancing enough, or they have any advice for me, or if they need help with anything. And that just helps me internally to integrate those parts, make sure those parts are okay. And the inner reparenting is really, really big and really, really important. It can be done in session and outside of session, because some support might have been lacking. I know a lot of people, there was not physical neglect. Maybe we had a roof over our head and food, but maybe there was emotional neglect. No one asked how we were, or attuned themselves or worked on themselves to be able to connect with us growing up. So as we start to emotionally mature internally, then we can be a better inner parent to ourselves. We can have more self-compassion. Mimi, watching funny animal videos like cats and birds. Yeah, guys, drop in the comments if anything, if there's anything that you like to do to help your processing and integration. Is there anything that you find nourishing? And you might do it on a daily basis, or you might find that you do it post-healing. Baby goats are gorgeous. I want a goat so much, but apparently they eat all your plants. So I'm like, yeah. So any techniques where you can allow yourself to be in your body, it might be some breath work. So post-healing, maybe in that particular healing, you had a lot of sadness and you're feeling like, post-session, there's still waves of that to be released. Maybe you're struggling a little bit. So maybe doing a little bit of breath work. Sometimes, grief is held in the lungs, and that can allow you to cry. Or even when we went away recently, I felt like I needed to have a big cry and I just couldn't. We were too busy doing this, and that. And then we went on this ride where it's this 4D experience where you are hanging in this plane, and it's like the screens all the way around you, and you're flying in the air like a bird over all of these. The one that I went to was all of the things in Australia, like Uluru and mountains and snow, and that just, I was like, I feel like I'm flying. And for some reason, I just started pulling my eyes out, and I was like, yes, it's coming out. So we sort of sit in integration. My impression is that watching something would be escaping. I think I felt safe enough when no one was looking at me in the eyes, and I felt like I was flying like a soul, and I was able to feel safe enough to let it out. And I like to cry in the shower too. I try to practice feeling movement in every part of my body. Yeah, nature helps. Yeah. Yeah, I started going on daily walks because that really reduces your cortisol. That helps too. And that side to side movement, like EMDR, that bilateral movement, looking at the trees, looking around, maybe seeing other people, that's really good too. So yeah, keep them coming, guys. If you have anything that you like to do, if you have any questions, I always found escape in reading. I could get lost in another world. It fed my soul. Yeah, lovely. But what we want to do in integration is just making sure something is trying to come out, that we're like creating space for that to come out in whatever way it needs to. When you're feeling triggered, you move side to side. Oh, that feels nice, actually. That's lovely. And there's different ways that we can like express the emotions or feel the emotions. With anger, sometimes I'll do it with my son. If he's feeling anger, I'm feeling angry, I'll just be like, like have a little scream, like he knows he's safe with me. I'm like, oh, I just feel angry, I need to let it out. And I'm trying to teach him to like let it out and not be like, oh, you shouldn't be angry and shut it down. Like, let's feel it. Let's get it out in a safe space. Silent. Yes, tapping. I love tapping too. So you can just, I teach that in manifesting level 2. You can just tap through whatever heavy thoughts are coming up, and that really helps to stimulate the meridians, the nervous system, and you often get a few sighs and that release coming out. So there's really beautiful ways that we can allow what needs to come out. It's like a game with the splinter with the past. Taking the splinter out, but there's still, you know, some residual that needs to come out so the full healing can occur. And I, don't get me wrong, I've definitely left healings where I'm feeling amazing, but sometimes I feel amazing for a day or two, and then the heavy stuff goes, oh, I feel safe enough to come up now. And then, oh, I'm feeling like that and holding space for that. And that comes back to creating a life where you have a little bit of flexibility to allow for yourself to feel, you know, if you're working an office job, going in the toilets and having a cry, or in the car, whatever you need to do, because remember, we want to pull that splinter out early. If we get into a conflict or we have a trauma, the key is to allow yourself to feel what's happening. It's hard though for some people, because maybe a partner's died and they've got kids and they have to organize a funeral, and they've, you know, they lock everything up. But at some point it is really good to release that and let it go, and not be in that robot mode and disconnect our emotional self so we can move on. We've got to reintegrate it at some point, and that means to feel it in a safe capacity. Yep, shaking. And it's really about just like, what does my body feel like it needs to do right now, right? It really comes to that, and us being attuned to it, and asking what it needs. For some people it might be coloring in, you know, getting one of those adult coloring in books, and connecting that other side of our brain rather than, you know, always working and things like that. So imagine that our soul is a frame of a house with a slab. It's very solid, but each of our parts might be different rooms, different elements of our house that we have neglected. So the suppressed ones maybe are the rooms that we've just locked, and we don't want to go in there. It's too scary to see it because of what we will feel. And then, you know, we've like let some things go, but also maybe we've put a facade in front of the house to make it look newer, to make it look a certain way so other people feel more comfortable or they like it, because we're trying to get validation, right? And you know, there might be areas of the garden where we don't want to go because it's just too overwhelming to start a battle. We just start to shut down. This might be a real life thing for you. I don't know. I get that sometimes in my garden. And we start to just feel heavy, and we're like, oh, it's too big. Like, I can't deal with it, right? And so what integration is and what healing is going, okay, is there someone that can hold my hand to maybe walk into this room that I've been avoiding, this dark room, that there's something in there. I'm scared because I've felt it before, you know, or going, do you know what? I'm happy to show the bare bones of my house. I'm going to be vulnerable and take the facade off the front of it, right? So when we do healing work, it's like our practitioners, our facilitators are like a renovation crew that holds our hands, or you know, the gardener that holds our hand and go, okay, let's do this together. Let's do it step by step. There might be damage that needs to be repaired on the roof, like, you know, get someone roofing, and you don't have to do it all yourself. And that's, with us as practitioners, we have such an important role in that sense. We're helping people go to the darkest corners, you know, that they've blocked out, which again, it's been an amazing mechanism of their mind to do that so they can get on with life. But we all know that that room's getting damp. It's going to start to have mold and leach out into other areas of the house, right? So it's really about starting to open that up. So in terms of doing that, that's the healing work, right? We're going in, we're facing it, and we're just starting to look at it and feel it and go through what we need to go through. And then the processing and the integration is, you know, cleaning the room, learning what we can, fixing up what we need to. I don't like to use the word fix and healing, but you know what I mean with this analogy. Um, and then once we do that, then that's why I like to bring in um, the manifestation work, because our soul is what we're aiming for, to reconnect with the present moment and our soul. There's, you know, two different things. Our true essence before all those things happened to us and we created all these subpersonalities. And we've got, you know, we might, the soul might strengthen and we'll learn and we'll, you know, make sure there's anti-mold things. I don't know if there's such thing. Or, you know, we're protecting it from white ants. I don't know if that's only an Australian thing, but we're doing things to strengthen that foundation and to strengthen that frame, right? And then where with the manifestation and how that comes in is going, now what do I want to create? How do I want to decorate it? Because I don't know about you guys, but I got stuck in the loop of, I want to improve an area of my life. So I'm just going to do healing work on it. And I'm going to do healing work on it. I'm going to heal that. I need to heal another thing. Oh, and there's another limiting belief. There's another trauma. Oh, that's the reason I'm like that. And I was like, I'm changing my internal world. Yes. But the external world is not reflecting much of that back to me, other than my reactions are different. I approach things differently. Yes, I look after myself more, blah, blah, blah. I have better boundaries. The fence around my home is more sturdy. You know, I'm not going to let people in that mistreat me, you know, things like that. But um, I haven't, I want to change my external world as well. Like I want to repaint it. I want to plant flowers. Like I pulled out all the weeds and now the garden's looking really bare. You know, I've pulled down all the wallpaper and then I feel like it needs something. And that's where the manifesting comes in, where you can go, now what do I want to create? How do I want to expand? How do I want to serve? How do I want to be? Do I want to be a person of more integrity? Do I want to be a kinder person? And we become the creators in our lives and we become more empowered. And that's why I love that combination. And you guys will get an email probably soon and after this and later this week on our bundle sale, because bundling these together, doing the somatic work and the safety, and then bringing the manifestation and becoming the creator again, rather than just being like, I'm just healing and being my soul. Like, no, let's create a new life and call things in. And when I started to integrate that into my healing work, like everything changed. My friendships, my relationship, my health, financially was huge as well. But mainly like experiences and fun and joy and adventure. Because when I was constantly stuck in healing and processing and integrating, yes, we're pulling out all the stuff that wasn't serving us, but like now we're free to create. And that's how it should have always been. You know, you see kids, they'll sit there, they'll play, they'll create, they'll be in awe of the smallest things. Like my son the other day, like every 5 minutes, Mom, look at this, Mom, look at this. Like we need to go back to that. Like, wow, you know, like when we're on holidays and everything, and we know we're a visitor and only for a short time, and you kind of like everything is so exciting and wow, and that's how it should kind of feel. And that's why we call in the manifestation work, so we're getting those wows like every day, like this is incredible, I'm so grateful, right? So it's like the healing work is heavy and it's real, and it's, we have to be very sensitive to that. And a lot of us have been real victims, but if we just keep getting stuck in that loop and it's another loop, yeah, bringing that magic back, feeling free again to create. Exactly. So I've written a quote. Where did I put it? So yeah, healing changes your internal world and manifesting changes your external world. And the combination are both vital and potent. And for those of you that cringe at the manifesting word, that's fine. And it may or may not resonate, but I invite you even just to let yourself receive, let yourself be supported, let yourself have dreams and goals. And when you notice those parts of you that are like, I don't deserve this, or it might be too hard, it's like you're not opening up to the magic of what's possible. And you know, potentially that being in this space, like your absolute service to the world of you being able to impact a lot of people, or even if it's a few people, you impact them very deeply because you've made solid intentions. And anyone that is in energy work, intention is everything. You might want to grow your practice because you want validation, you want to prove someone, you want to prove to yourself, or you might, and that might be a shadow, it might be unconscious, but you might want to grow your practice because you want to change the world in some way or create a positive ripple effect in some way. And getting really grounded in that and really clear on that, it affects every decision. And then you'll notice when parts of you aren't in alignment with that, you go, oh, now I need to do some healing. There's some part of me that's not in alignment with my intention of how I want to be in the world and what I want to create. Then we heal. We get out of the healing treadmill, but we heal as it gets activated, as it comes up, as it's being called to. Obviously, if you're having like pain and ongoing, issues and things like that, yes, we do healing work around that. But being in pain is being activated, whether emotionally or physically. And we're not, I like to call it limiting belief mining, or like trauma mining, where we're like, I just want to heal everything and just find everything and just go for it. Like, you'll be healing till you're 100, because we've got collective trauma, ancestral trauma, past life trauma, if you believe in that, trauma from our whole lives. So some of us, it's, over 50 years. So it's not a race, and we're not trying to heal everything all at once. We want to like have a North Star that's pulling us, and anything that's popping up, then we address it. And that's how we should be engaging with our clients, is like, what is your goal? What is your intention? And let's just see what's in the way of that. And I'll be your guide. I'll hold your hand. I'll support you through the healing itself, but also through the integration, because it's not easy, but it's worth it. And this hard work is worth it. So I just want to also say, anyone that's in Melbourne, and Ryan might have mentioned it yesterday, if you would like to come meet me and Ryan and Matt in person, we're having an in-person event. I think it's on the 5th of May, and I might be wrong, but I'll put the link in. If anyone wants to come along, I would absolutely love to meet some of you if you can make it. We're going to have more retreats and conferences internationally in future, so don't feel like you have to come to Melbourne or you're missing out or anything. On the 8th. Thanks, Jody. In what's the best order to do the courses? I only read your comment recently. It'd be better to do RCT before EP. I'm nearly done with EP. If you've done with EP, I'm assuming you got the bundles or one of the bundles. So yeah, do EP, then RCT, then TIMC in that order that you've written. Because in EP you'll have that safety, nervous system understanding, and knowing how to like work with the emotions in a really safe way for people that are really sensitive. And then RCT, you'll have the really practical, like going straight into things and processing them. And then TIMC is then the future. So that would be a perfect order. How often do we do in-person events? I reckon once every 6 months. Our last one was in Bali. We had a 2-day conference at the Pyramids of Chi with Kendall. That's on the call. She works there actually. So we were so lucky. So yeah, it was incredible. And Kendall ran amazing sound and breathwork sessions. So we're very, very lucky. Because we do have students all over the world. And I don't know if you follow me on social media, but when we're on holidays in Queensland, I was walking down the street and I saw a sign, someone saying they do kinesiology and root cause therapy. And I'm like, what? I just bumped into this sign and it was so exciting. So we like to do in person to bring it all together. Oh, Philippines. We would love to do Philippines. Actually, AJ and Leica, who work for us there in the Philippines, we flew them to Bali with us as well. They love to travel. Philippines are absolutely beautiful. You've got some beautiful islands there. Any plans to come to the UK? Potentially. It's just a bit cold for me. I'm just a real sook if it's under 26 degrees. I'm cold. I think it's my Sri Lankan heritage. It could be that. And also I wonder if it's generational trauma, because my dad, he was born in 1934 and he was in snowy area of Germany, and they, during World War II, they were like starving. And I wonder if I have some generational trauma there around just feeling when I get cold, I get really shut down. I wonder if there's some links there. Plans to come to the US. Yes, when Ryan's, as some of you may know, Ryan has a criminal record just from like 10 years ago from when he had his addictions. I think that'll be finished at the end of the year and we can come to the US possibly. And then also I'll just put the link for the bundle, but you guys will get email. Some of you might not want a bundle. There's like all different bundles, but you might just want the individual ones. Just message our team and we'll be able to sort that out. Would love for you to do an in-person event in New Zealand. Yeah, so actually there is a whole tribe of root cause therapy students in New Zealand and they do meetups, but I just haven't gone to one yet. Sometimes I'll just rock up if someone in the community creates an event. When did the meditation certificate come out? It came out I think a month or two ago. So yeah, there's trauma-informed meditation facilitator training. That's in one of the bundles. And it's if you want to become a meditation teacher and run meditation sessions in one-on-one or groups, but in a trauma-informed way. Canadians, yes, David, I know you guys are friendly. They're likened to Aussies, but maybe even more chill up there. I don't know, more lovely. We had a spiritual tour in Vietnam, not last year, the year before. And Fee, that's on the call, he actually lives over there, and he's a good friend that I've been friends with since I was like 20, I want to say, or maybe younger. And yeah, we took some students on a spiritual tour around Vietnam, and one of the lovely ladies on the tour was from Canada, and she's just absolutely a gem. And so are you, David. So just generalizing, you guys are lovely. Happy to come to Australia, New Zealand, love to travel. Oh, that would be great. Yeah, if you come over, would love to have you. All right, guys. Well, did anyone have any questions? Anything that I've missed? Anything that you want to share or feedback? And I'll start wrapping it up. Make sure I've sorted all the comments. Yeah. It is cold asthma. Yes. Asthma. I'm so hope I'm saying that correctly. Sorry. In the UK. But I'd love to come to London. It looks really nice. Melbourne meetup sounds great. Yep, the link's above, but I can so even if you've only done the trauma-informed certificate for coaches, or you're just interested, you're welcome to come along. You don't have to be a practitioner. No worries, Suzanne. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Oh, Mimi, thank you for this 2-day opportunity. My first time here. I can resonate with what you say with integration. My journey of healing involves appreciating the texture of life and connections. Yeah, it's lovely. Oh, integration when you have little kids. So I did see your comment a little bit earlier. And I have only one child, but it is a lot, and to have kids, because you've got your inner children that are getting triggered. You might be trying to change generational patterns. So you're trying to break cycles of, trying to be a better parent than what you were parented. And then you've got a whole capacity for their big emotions while you're getting triggered and possibly have your big emotions. And then, we're trying to like teach them the best that we can. So it's a lot. I look at it as they are our best teachers. They trigger us, just like when you have a business, it's like also having a child. It's very vulnerable, triggering, relentless. But if we can look at it in a sense of compassion, if anything, making sure that if there is any conflict, that there's repair. So if for any reason why you ended up yelling or you ended up saying something you wish you didn't, making sure that either a safe parent is there to work with, or that you are repairing with them as quickly as you can once you've calmed down, and saying, look, I'm sorry that I was like that. It wasn't about you, because children think it's all about them. And it was just, this happened today and it was making me feel like this. And that's why I reacted to you like that. And giving them that information is really important. And then helping them feel how they're feeling. So, I've had times where I'm like, do you want to cry? And I can see he's holding it in. and holding him and go, cry, just let it out, let it out. And it goes back to pulling that splinter out. So doing that is really important. And what we've really got in our family is, and it's reverberating out into his school community, is the way that he's being is respect. I think just because they're our kids, we don't own them. They're their own individual souls that might be older than us. And just teaching respect, that we respect him and he naturally respects other people now, where he's not going crazy in class. He's make sure he listens when someone talks. He's, things like that. He thinks about how other people feel and attunes to them, because we've done that with him. And I have not been perfect. We're not perfect. I was telling everyone about the other day how I was like trying to go on a walk and he was being all cute and I was all frustrated. But all you can do, and I repaired with him later. I go, I know I was a little bit angry on our walk. He goes, yeah, I noticed that. And I'm like, I'm sorry. It wasn't about you. I'm just a little bit stressed. I was thinking about other things and I'm sorry about that. And he goes, okay. And we were able to repair. How do I continue to process the emotion when it goes interrupted, or do I just wait until it comes up? Creating a space for it to come up. So somewhere that makes you feel safe. It might be the car. You might drive down to the beach and look at the water. Thinking about whatever makes you feel safe, then it will allow the emotions to come up and release. So just reminding yourself, I have to finish releasing that emotion, and then doing what you can to try and facilitate that is going to be really helpful. And it's different for everyone. That's why, like, try different things. Try journaling, try tapping, try talking to someone on the phone that you trust, going out into nature, those things that we said, to finish it. Because it's all still in our bodies. It'll be there somewhere. So yeah. Question about the trauma-informed certificate. Did you change the platform? I can't access the course or certs anymore. I'm not sure, Val. Can you email our team? We haven't changed anything at all. So just support at thecenterforhealing.com.au. I'll just pop it here and they'll be able to sort you out. Sometimes some people have registered a different email, or yeah, just it'll be some little glitch that we can help you out. I have to write the Center for Healing properly. And like I said, if you have any questions, if you want it just an individual certification, we can organize that for you. Okay. Lovely. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for this beautiful moment. And I invite you all, if you missed the start, just to remember that us as humans, we weren't meant to notice everything that's happening in around the world. And, we can't control everything. Anything that we can't control, we generally can't change. So just thinking about, your house, the birds outside, of the birds are experiencing something, you're experiencing the same thing. Even if it's a hurricane, yes, you are experiencing a hurricane, but if it's sunshine or rain, they're experiencing that too. And just dulling down the noise of the whole world. We weren't built to hear every scary thing around the world. So just coming back to you. And thank you again. Thank you so much. And I'll for those of you that want to rewatch this or the previous one, we'll have the day one replay is already there, and I'll upload this one in a few hours, and you can come back and watch for the rest of the week. And yeah, thank you so much again. Thank you. Bye-bye.